Pochettino says, I think we cannot blame the players. The circumstances are not helping us. Michael's a big Chelsea fan. Michael, good morning. What are the circumstances that Pochettino's talking about?
Morning, chaps. Love the show as always.
Morning. Thank you, Michael.
Morning. To be fair, look, you can blame youth all you want, but you can't go to the Emirates against one of your biggest rivals and put in a performance like that and get laughed about. You know, it was absolutely shambolic. The thing is, you can have all the ability in the world, but to get that balance, there needs to be a mentality there. You know, there's no leadership. I mean, Conor Gallagher, you know, he can run around and win the ball and stuff, but I don't see him as a leader, as a captain. You need someone that can go and pick the players up when they're performing as badly as they did yesterday, rough them up a little bit and get them to play better. It was absolutely shocking.
Are you talking about more senior players on the pitch or around the training ground to actually create and help that mentality?
Yeah.
Because they haven't got them, have they?
Yes, you've got nothing. There's no leadership. There's no leadership whatsoever. I mean, to be fair, the way we played against City, if Jackson had taken his chances, we should have won that. And even yesterday, he had 3 good chances. And look, he's young. He's probably short of confidence, but he's still, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. He handballed it instead of headering it.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
And even the second half, he had the whole goal to shoot at, and he tries to go keeper's near post instead of smash it on the other side.
Are you happy to give it time, Michael?
We've got no choice.
To be fair, yeah, that's true. There's no choice.
Just on the circumstances that Jim asked you at the beginning, I'm thinking about that. I think what Poch is alluding to is the fact that the amount of the imbalance in the squad. He's not saying it by hammering Bowley, but he's saying the circumstances around. Look, we've got some injuries, and we've only got young players. So what do you expect? That's what he's talking about. Circumstances.
Yeah, you go to Villa this weekend, Michael. Do you expect to get anything?
Well, I mean, to be fair, we could lose 5-0 against Arsenal and then probably win 4-0 against Villa. That's the season so far. But
all right.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, thanks for your call, mate. Here's Sean, another Chelsea fan, one of many. Couple of many coming on now in numbers. Sean, good morning. What did you witness last night? What's your takeaway from it?
Morning, Jim, Danny, Simon,
morning,
my life
Sean.
idol. Basically, I'm half happy that Cole Palmer didn't play last night because he can't carry this team on his shoulders just constantly. It don't do nothing for his confidence when he's the only player playing for Chelsea. The confidence level is just too low. There's no leaders on the pitch. It was just awful, like absolutely shocking. So
I think there are. I mean, look, he has been leading you, and luckily for Chelsea is that when Chelsea don't play well and lose, his confidence doesn't get affected at all. That's a brilliant thing. But when you look at some of the players like Mudryk, who's got this pace and skill, but he's looked shot of any belief in himself or confidence.
Yeah,
you know, how do you change that? Well, I always feel and always think it's necessary, and I from personal experience. And the 2 best examples at Liverpool, when they brought Gary McAllister in at 35, was he, Jim? I think.
Yeah.
And Dietmar Hamann, who was a German international who played at Munich, those two were unbelievable at guiding you through games at times when things weren't going well. Helping you out, little comments, organising the team, keeping structure, getting you back in.
Right.
Chelsea don't have them.
No. Sean, listen, thanks for your call. Simon's your idol, is he?
Legend. I mean, most things he says I take. Not all, but most.
There you go, Simon.
Thank you very much.
There you go. Sean, thank you for that. There's a message coming in, one of many. Morning, guys. Chelsea, home and away I go. I agree with Danny and Simon on the young squad theory, but I was watching Madueke, Enzo Jackson, who trot around, no closing down. Doesn't matter what age you are. That surely is a basic.
Well, hold on. What? I mean, you can accuse Jackson of not being a good finisher, but you can't accuse him of not working hard. Fella doesn't stop. He closes down, he runs the channels, he must cover more ground than most strikers in the Premier League now.
So he gets a pass at the moment.
Well, I think if you're going to accuse someone of not closing down, not working hard, you need to look at the numbers surrounding Jackson, because his numbers are ridiculous for his
But this fellow follows him home and away.
Well, you see the same thing on television. I get that. I can see the numbers. I'm lucky enough to get the numbers. Nicholas Jackson cannot be accused of anything in terms of his work ethic, but he can certainly be accused of being a poor finisher. But let's put things in perspective.
And he's here to finish.
Pardon?
That's his job.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jay, big Chelsea fan. What's your take on this? Are you going to give them time?
How are we?
Good, Jay.
Good morning.
How are you, mate?
Well, I'm very well. With you, I agree with a lot of what Simon and Danny have said today. Simon, particularly from the business side of things, and the owners and the way they've restructured the club and what's going on at the club. And from Danny's point of view, when he refers to a young playing staff and a lack of seniors, and therein lies the problem at the club. I think it's abundantly clear. Okay, there is a severe lack of senior pros within the squad that can bring along these guys, these youngsters, who are quite clearly. But where I have a problem with what's going on at the club and the guys, Clearlake and Bowley and those guys, is that their plan is a hugely unrealistic one of bringing in young players who a lot of people actually didn't know. I heard people talking about Enzo winning a World Cup, okay? No, Enzo didn't win the World Cup. Messi won the World Cup for Argentina.
Yeah,
I believe that Enzo played a couple of games and wasn't a starter at the World Cup.
Yeah, no, he did. He started. He got in after the second game and stayed in, to be fair to him. So he did. But yeah, it's a fair point you make about that.
You think, Jay, the ownership are being unrealistic?
I think we all understand, right? I've played the games, not to a professional level like Danny has, but I've played the game at a very high level. And you guys have been around it, right? You know it very well, and we can all agree that if you like this procedure, this plan, this direction, whatever you want to call it. I hate the word project, but it's been used. Is a hugely unrealistic one that's never been done before. The best sides that have ever won titles across the planet have a good blend of senior players and young players, and that's how you bring them through. You talk about Michael Owen, yes, but when Michael Owen came through, right, he was an extreme exception. But look who he had around him.
Yes,
right. Jackson would have never started as a Chelsea striker. He would have waited his time. You would have had guys like Anelka and Drogba.
So, Jay, the suggestion being, Simon, that the way the ownership have gone about it is unrealistic.
Well, I think that's pretty self-evident, isn't it? I think we've all been saying the same thing, that the balance is wrong. But I don't believe that you can just exonerate Pochettino from the equation and suggest that the £400 million that was spent during the period of time that he's there, cannot be considered as choices that... I mean, the argument is constantly and persistently... And
he's not getting involved in what players are coming.
Well, I don't believe that.
I do.
Well, so let's just pare it back a second.
No chance.
Let's just pare it back a second. Chelsea are chasing after Pochettino. They've got a problem last summer. They're trying to get him in early, right? They want to bring him in. He doesn't want to come in because he doesn't want to make it his side. He doesn't want to assume the role. So Lampard goes in there and does whatever Lampard does and doesn't do. So the guy that they're seeking, that they really want, right, has absolutely no say in the materials that they're going to provide. Well, so Pochettino's going to walk through the door and go, I'm going to come in, right, and I'm going to be responsible for a team that I'm going to have no input in who you buy. It's a ridiculous assertion. He had all the currency, all the juice. He was the one that they were chasing. He wasn't chasing them. And as part of his conditionality of going to Chelsea would have been a manager saying, to some extent, I imagine I'm going to be involved significantly in which players we do and don't seek.
I think the word significantly would be wrong. I think maybe he would sit down when the players are presented and go, I'd prefer him rather than him. But you don't spend millions of pounds on two different directors of football and get him from Brighton, get him from all those different the Brighton guys, bring all those in. They like many clubs now, present the players to the coach.
But that's the same thing.
But
unless the manager to go scouting, what you're saying is silly. Because Klopp doesn't go scouting. They get players.
Klopp has earned the right, as years have gone by, to be more of a dictator on what players come in and don't.
It does seem, though, Simon, that other clubs have done what Chelsea haven't done. Like Newcastle recruit Anthony Gordon, Villa not recently, but in time gone by, Ollie Watkins. I mean, last night we haven't even addressed this. One of the star guys on the pitch was a much maligned Kai Havertz, once of Chelsea, now of Arsenal.
Well, Anthony Gordon's a bad example because he's exactly the type Chelsea would go for.
That's my point.
No, but what they don't do is go for people like Kieran Trippier, which is the perfect type.
Whatever Newcastle do, right? Let's just be clear. So when we're comparing and contrasting, right, the media and the fan bases are very different towards Newcastle than they are towards Chelsea. Right? So the expectation of Chelsea is that Chelsea are going to
Win the
constantly
league,
be
yeah.
winning the league. The expectation of Newcastle is that they've been run by Mike Ashley, a miserly curmudgeon that gave them no money, and anything above the bottom 4 is a good return for Newcastle. And so their fan base were delighted, the energy was there, and they made some sensible decisions. Did anyone advocate for Chelsea buying Chris Wood then?
No, Newcastle.
No, I'm suggesting that
yeah.
Newcastle bought Chris Wood because
get
at a
him out,
moment in time to do certain jobs,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's a different level of expectation. It doesn't give Chelsea a pass. These players that they've paid far too much money for and have invested have been the wrong balance. And if they don't get the right balance this summer, then I think everyone should be piling in on them.
Just to finalise and repeat something. It's not just about these players progressing to become really good and Chelsea get better. My concern for Chelsea is that what they've done by buying these young players full of potential is some of them aren't as good as they thought they were. That's going to be the problem.
I don't hear any complaints about the lack of involvement from Pochettino about Cole Palmer. Who bought that player? Oh, that's a success. That one worked out. Oh, okay.
Okay. The upshot is Chelsea lost it 5-0, and it's Villa next for them.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.